always in the best of form. TUNDE IDOWU is my name, at Irresistible TD on Twitter or X, either way. My brother, and it's Friday.
TGIF.
Where are we going? There's a video tonight I need to attend. Naturally.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
I like prayer, just like Mr. Komiademili, you always say, Tunde is a prayer warrior.
Oh.
Yeah. I like people tagging me along that line, and they see the pastoral
like prayer. The prayer that we know.
I don't know which one you know now.
Okay. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. It's the TGIF edition of Morning Spray. Thank God it's Friday. Of course, the last one for the week. Just like Tunde said, I want to sincerely thank you for being part of the program all week. For the next 1 hour or two, we will be here saying it as it is.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we do here at Western Spring Television on the program for today, Morning Spray. You know, analyzing, critiquing, speaking to issues as it is, those things that you want discussed, things happening from the national to the sub-nationals. That's what we do here at this time. Femi Ojo is my name. And it's a whole lot of things to really talk about.
A whole lot.
Today, many things are happening within the country and outside the country as well.
Yeah.
The ECOWAS region, the Niger situation, we are hearing. Like, I think when negotiations are still on, the ECOWAS are talking tough. And I think the military intervention option is now on the table. And letting Niger know that we will go full blast if anything breaks down in negotiation. And at the middle of this is Nigeria as the big brother of the region, even in Africa as well. And so, but the thing is, Nigerians are talking about it. Most Nigerians, or some Nigerians, doesn't want Nigeria to really interfere because they're of the opinion that Nigeria has a whole lot on its plate already. So why will you be in the center? But then it's a global space. In Africa, it's at a continent, at a sub-region. Nigeria cannot shy away.
Absolutely.
In fact, our president is the chairman of the ECOWAS. So anything that affects ECOWAS must definitely have the imprint, the footprint of Mr. President Bola Tinubu at this time. A meeting was held on Thursday, and a communique was released. Negotiations are still on. Burkina Faso, the guys there are talking tough. The guys in Mali are talking tough. Those in Guinea are talking tough. And now it's, you know, but one thing today is this. There was a rally held in support of the military junta. So it appears, are the people in Niger okay with the situation? And if actually they are okay, why should we intervene in the matter?
You know, I think it was sometimes this week we spoke about this, right? Some people have applauded. You saw what happened. Was it during the independence at the stadium where they rallied the support?
The mammoth crowd.
It was also
cheering.
Honestly,
the
and
leadership.
you saw the military junta led by
General
Chiani there applauding him. He was waving, and people were. So it brings to mind here that, look, this must be sorted out with some diplomacy. Nigerians are saying, yes, we want this to happen. Some are saying no. But basically, the world today is filled with democracy. Democracy is what everybody's like saying, look, this should thrive in my country.
That's the in thing.
That's the in thing, virtually almost major countries of the world today. So when the military come out from the barracks to do what they're in some countries that they're doing, Burkina Faso, Mali, here in Africa, the United Nations, ECOWAS, the African Union, all of them will definitely come out. That the military cannot topple a civilian rule, because obviously if it had been a military rulership in any country, a civilian cannot come in except via election. So they have to just judge look at this, come up with diplomatic ways to resolve this. And looking at the threat by the junta themselves at this moment that they will kill the president, the
man is still being held.
Yeah, honestly,
President Bazoum.
I will just say that will be the beginning of the end of quite a whole lot of things to come up in Nigeria.
Because definitely the negotiations will cease.
Definitely.
And then we might get to see a full blast
that is over. And
different arsenals.
Seriously, we have said it on quite a whole lot of occasions on this program and on most of our other programs, news that comes out from Western Spring Television. That look, let's come up with diplomatic things, please. We don't want to see deaths. We don't want to see destruction.
Especially avoidable ones.
Very, very avoidable ones. Honestly, thank you for that word. They are very, very avoidable, because if we can just come to a round table, this is why you guys toppled. But for this reason, there should be an election.
Some concessions here and there.
Let's just come up with something.
And some groups are talking. The Christian Association of Nigeria, yes, they released a release. And they are made a release rather, and told the president to tread softly. In fact, they are not backing him on the war thing.
Virtually everybody. Virtually everybody. The Arewa Consultative Forum came out sometimes last week as well to say, hey, look, let's tread softly. I saw in the pages of the papers this morning, someone like General Agwai, former INEC Chairman, Professor Jega, amongst some top people like that. Look, anybody who has seen what war looks like will never pray for war. So even the protests, we saw what happened during that NSAS in Nigeria, that was just a protest. That's not war.
It's never an easy time, really.
They need to see what's happening in Sudan. They need to have seen what had happened in Libya.
And what definitely the Sudan is a typical example of what we are talking about.
Look,
even why it was not a full-scale war in the whole of the country. Just some parts of the capital. And how it involved some Nigerian students. We knew the agony
they went through.
That people went through, you know, to have our people back. And knowing fully well, Nigerians are in Niger. They are there doing business. Some Nigerians are here as well. But then we keep our fingers crossed.
We just appeal.
The peaceful way. We have a whole lot to discuss this morning, especially from the papers. And then after the papers, we'll get talking. But before that, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll take you straight to what the papers are saying. Stay with us.
Evelyn Ohiole, King Eve. How are you today?
I'm good, I'm fine, I'm alive.
I really feel like she's not giving the right answer to the question. When one asks you, how are you? And you said, you're saying, I'm alive. It's very annoying, seriously. How are you? I'm fine. I feel I'm fine would be the right answer instead of I'm alive. Not that I asked you if you're dead before.
Go and check all these 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody, they are extraordinarily sexually active.
I feel is being unnecessarily hyper when it comes to the issue of sex, because we talk about other topics and it feels so reserved. It really doesn't have anything much to say when it comes to other stuff. But when it's the issue of sex, I believe it's being unnecessarily hyper. That's when I have to pick an issue with him. I mean, it's just being unnecessarily there when we're talking about sex. Just like a child, his mom just got him his favorite chocolate or ice cream, very happy, doing as though if he doesn't have sex for a day, he's going to die.
When it comes to finance, women also support their husbands financially. You need me emotionally. You need me spiritually.
Cassie is an amazing person, but I hate the too much attached to that gender. I need you spiritually, I need you mentally. I can get these things anywhere with money. If you go by the topic was, who does marriage favors the most? I know how many jobless women they marry every Saturday. They are saying it favors you, favor. Are they vex so?
Growing up, when I was in the world, we've heard of
Who are you now?
Well, MC Too Much said, he likes saying when I was in the world. And the last time I checked, well, it looks a bit innocent, facially, but deep down, he's actually out of this world. We're all in the world now. As long as you're alive, you're in the world. So, MC Too Much, I beg you to talk about that. I don't want to hear that. Next time you talk about I case on us.
I think I have a problem with you saying ladies are champion, and that's the problem. Always trying to attach so much importance to that gender.
It's giving insecurity, it's giving low self-esteem, it's giving a blatant display of egoism. Because at the end of the day, a man who is secured in his words, a man who is confident of who he is, will not really be disturbed as to whether women are being referred to as champions or not. I mean, at the end of the day, Joseph's a really great guy, but whether he likes it or not, women are champions.
The 1914 Amalgamation Treaty is synonymous to the birth of Nigeria. Frederick Lugard, a British Army captain and an outlaw who struck gold in Africa, became the instrument used by destiny to make it happen. The amalgamation of Nigeria was designed for economic reasons by the colonial administration to offset Northern Protectorate budget deficit by Southern Protectorate surplus returns. The amalgamation had ad initio created imbalance in the economic political structure of Nigeria and was responsible for the persistent hiccups and the efforts to forge a united country till today. Nigeria's amalgamation was labeled as the mistake of 1914 by native northern conservatives who neither wanted it nor contributed anything significant to its sustenance. Western Springer Television identifies with Amalgamation Treaty of 1914 as a watershed event in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in the multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. first television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history.
Thank you for being there with us. All right, let's get down to the business of the morning proper. The newspapers we've got with us, but most of the papers carry virtually the major story there. It's about Niger Republic, and we have been saying it. Please, let's just negotiate. Let's bring some diplomacy so that there wouldn't be full-blown scale of war in that country. It's still Morning Spring coming to you, the Friday edition and the very last for the week. Let's get down to the business of the morning here. Kicking things off from the pages of Vanguard newspaper. I have the Vanguard newspaper here. The big bold caption there says, Niger, ECOWAS orders deployment of standby force. Phew. It's quite a whole lot of rider associated to that story, but just like direct committee of Chief of Defense Staff to activate standby force, appeals to UN for support. Junta warns they did kill the post-president in the event of any military intervention. It's quite a whole lot concerning that, but then we just hope negotiation, diplomacy will be treated in the best of ways here concerning this. Please, we don't want full-scale war in any part of the world. And just below that, you have the pictures of ECOWAS leaders meeting yesterday when they met yesterday in Abuja. And I just hope they had a fruitful deliberation. They might not have brought everything to the media for the media consumption, but be that as it may, we just hope it's something that will bring peace and stability to Niger Republic. Coming further down that same daily, defection. APC National Working Committee to welcome Edo Deputy Governor next week. Is that not? That's tribal.
Yeah.
Coming to APC?
The place they left.
Oh, wow.
Back, you know.
There's a writer there that says, it's not true. I'll sink, swim with Obaseki. Okay. That's credited to Shuaibu there.
We wait to see.
APC North Rehabilitation Center for Distressed Politicians. That's credited to former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshomole, speaking there. And other stories still where
Oshomole should be having some good laugh now, you know, because the two of them used to be in the same camp.
Seriously,
with him.
They worked together.
Politics happened. Obaseki and Shuaibu went to the PDP.
Yes.
Did all they could do, and then they came into power. But then it seems all is not rosy between.
Wow.
For me, the irony is the denier between the governor and his deputy. There is no problem. Nothing is happening. We wish you all the best.
We'll keep our fingers crossed. More stories still making the round from the pages of Vanguard newspaper. APC decries escalation of banditry in Zamfara. And tribunal sacks Kano NNPP rep member over certificate forgery. I wonder how one is able to present such things. Forged certificate, and you're not taking it to for you to get a job in a primary school.
Yeah,
this is a national assignment.
Of course,
you're going to one of the topmost places in a nation to be a legislator. How does that kind of person pass through different stages in life before coming to that level of being a rep?
It's so sad because it's a recurrent kind of decimal. It's happened before. You remember Salisu Buhari with the Toronto certificate situation?
Yes, I do.
And we've seen so many persons that have been sacked because of having fraudulent certificate presenting it. And this one is still an allegation, by the way. It should, and that's why they go under oath when they are doing this thing to say whatever I present is my true certificate.
Exactly.
Is what I can vouch for. But when it happens that you are found, and I think such cases should be taken very, very seriously, because you can't get to that kind of position through fraudulent means, and you want to preside on the affairs of thousands and millions of people who possibly he or she, in this case he, right, represents. It's a shame for whoever does that.
Honestly, and probably such a person will be put in charge of education again. Yeah. And then you begin
House
to...
committee or something.
Oh, God. Yeah. Moving on to the top strip of the Vanguard newspaper, Nigeria's oil production declines 13.6% to 1.08 million barrels per day. Wow. Southeast governors, reps, army move against insecurity. Why Naira is depreciating, we all know. But if you're interested, please check it out from the Vanguard newspaper as well. Job racketeering, reps panel order arrest of ex-FCC staff. 21 killed in fresh attacks on 2 Plateau communities. Wow, that's sad. And from the wall of sports here, the English Premiership has returned. Yeah. I think it will be nice. It will be nice. There's one of my brothers here, and he loves. I know he knows how to pick the games properly. Oh, okay. We'll probably do much in the course of this new season. Man City can't recreate treble win, says Guardiola. Yeah. So he knows already. That will be a tall order. Teams are reinforcing. Yeah. Quite a whole lot of happenings, transfers, and then we'll keep our fingers crossed. All right. That'll be all from Vanguard newspaper from me. All right. We have quite a lot of them today. Quickly to This Day. This Day newspaper for today. Niger, ECOWAS deploys troops ready for diplomacy, peace. Quite an irony. ECOWAS deploys troops, then ready for diplomacy. So wherever the conversation goes, they're saying they're ready. With riders here, Nigerian president says initial ultimatum yielded no results. We are ready, declares Nigeria Air Force. Okay. And Afenifere Khan orders insist military action is no option. Okay. You have the picture of the president there with several persons. Second special ECOWAS meeting on Niger crisis. Okay. Gunmen killed 21 in Plateau communities. Sad situation. LCDA's public hearing sparks row in Ondo. And still on this day, nominations open for 2023 Obafemi Awolowo Leadership Prize. Such an icon, Jeremiah Obafemi Awolowo. He will always be remembered, and that's what we say to politicians right now. Work for legacy, beyond your pockets, beyond white elephant projects. Things. You know, that's just there. These are icons forever. Legacy. You know, in our history, definitely. And at the bottom strip, you have Tinubu rejoices with doyen of accounting, Akintola Williams at 104. Yeah, from us here as well. We say congratulations to you, sir. Yeah. And more life in good health. Of course. As well. Yeah. Wow. And at the top strip, you have UNICEF advocates for 6 months paid maternity leave for working nursing mothers. 6 months. Paid leave for working mothers. I wish it can really happen here in our nation. How about nursing fathers? Yeah, they will probably take like 4 months. I think Lagos has such policy. Really? Yeah, I think leave for fathers, new nursing fathers. I think for a few weeks, but I'm not sure if it's paid or not. Really? Yeah, they need it, by the way. Our women, our wives, our mothers. Yes, they do. I know childbearing is not a joke. So my! Shout out to all the mothers. Yeah, that's all there is about this day. Let me go straight and check out some of the other headlines making the round from the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, virtually all these papers have the same story, but let's just reel them out as we have them this morning. Niger crisis. ECOWAS troops on standby. Junta threatens to kill Bazoum. The writer there says, Tinubu says ECOWAS open to dialogue. UN, US worry over Bazoum in Junta's captivity. Concern rise over looming humanitarian crisis. And burden on Nigeria's finances and military. Because I know that Nigeria will definitely carry the heavier load.
Definitely.
At this point, and we are still battling with quite a whole lot in our country, and to carry that again, it's going to be somehow. Let's go to other stories amidst the pictures you can find there on the pages of the Punch newspaper. President Tinubu alongside other ECOWAS chairmen there. On the bottom strip of the Punch newspaper, flood hits Edo, Adamawa, Ekiti, 17 others. That is something we just pray that please, as much as it has been stated that flooding this year will be massive, let's not go through things.
And honestly, from the meteorological agency,
they have been talking.
The federal government.
Exactly.
And it's high time states, took decisive decisions and be proactive. Because some of these things are avoidable.
Honestly.
It's a natural disaster.
Honestly.
Sometimes we don't have power over these things. This is happening. Wildfires in Hawaii, in the US have been burning for this. But you see the government, either the federal or the state, taking responsibilities, evacuating people. But then sometimes it has to do with the people as well, because our people are so attached. People don't want just to leave. Sometimes it's the fear of uncertainty. When we leave this place, who takes care of us? Where are we going? Who will be responsible? But then life supersedes.
Absolutely.
All of those concerns.
Absolutely. So we just admonish ourselves, please, let's stop throwing waste inside drainage system so that we can. These are avoidable things that we can. Moving further, still with the Punch newspaper, elevator crash. More dust after Lagos female doctor's tragic death. What again? And bus crashes into Lagos shops, kills mother and daughter. So sad, so sad. On the top strip of the Punch newspaper still, Kalu lobbies Ganduje for more Southeast ministerial slots. And Naira slump. Fuel price may go up, says marketers. We're in for it. Tribal false defection claim. Court holds removal. We'll keep our fingers crossed. That'll be all from the pages of the Punch newspaper for this morning as well.
All right, we move to the Nation newspaper for this morning. And of course, boldly written, ECOWAS put troops on standby for Niger rep junta. Away from that story completely. The top strip, bottom top strip, you have carbide ripened fruit dangerous. NAFDAC warns 21 killed in Plateau, done attack by bandits. This is, sometimes you feel like you're just sounding like a broken record because these things keep happening and happening. My question, whenever I hear these, sadly, is where do these people come from? Whenever they wreak these havoc, where do they go back to? Do they descend from the skies and after doing this, they are sent back? Nobody sees anything, nobody is saying anything, no arrest is made?
You remember we stated this about 2 or 3 days ago on this program. Then look, you're killing a human being like you. You're not killing a rat, you're not killing, I don't know.
What's the motive exactly?
Seriously.
Some have said maybe it's land grabbing by some group of people, just wickedness. But whatever the motive is, the security apparatus,
they need to step up.
Really, and
bring people to book.
Bring them to book. That's why I'm not for this idea of forgiveness, of repentance.
Pardon,
bandits, especially those caught in the act. They were saying as much they raise their hands. There is a United Nations charter that says anybody that raise their hands, then you must forgive them and then make them go through a particular de-radicalization.
Can a leopard change its spots?
You mean you've killed people, maimed them, And all of a sudden you said you're not doing that,
part of it,
and so people should just let it go. And I think that's part of the reason why some are buoyed by these, that in as much they can do and undo, all they have to do is just to raise their hands and say they are good. But Plateau is really
that community
is looking like a target for some group of persons. Same thing as Benue and some other states as well. Very sad.
Very
okay. Here at the bottom strip you have NBS report. Agri sector lost 577 billion to flooding in 2022.
Wow.
That's very sad.
Absolutely.
And General Aguai, Jega, Uwais, Bugaje, 8 others, saying don't use force on coupists.
That's the Niger probe.
Of course, on the Niger situation. And I think that's all there is about the front page of The Nation for today.
All right, and quickly, just as we rightly told you that they all contain virtually same story. Let's just check out what we have from the pages of Daily Trust newspaper here. From the page of Daily Trust, Nigerians kick as ECOWAS orders deployment of troops, and writers associated to that story there says force threat must be withdrawn. That's credited to Jega, Aguai, others. It's about collaboration and unity. That's credited to President Tinubu speaking there. We will be at the receiving end. Experts warns, obviously, Nigeria will be. Because before, our borders are not that, our borders are porous, just to put it in a simple sentences here. They will definitely come in. People will come in, we'll get more we just hope things can be done amicably. Bazoum will be killed if we are attacked. That's credited to the military rulers speaking there. Then Tribunal sacks Kano NNPP rep over certificate forgery. Hike in interest rate, hurting economy. Institute tells CBN. And Kano woman sues boyfriend for dumping her after spending 9.9 million naira on him. That's about 900,000.
That's a him and Andy story. You know.
That's kind of like a little bit humorous there. And on the top strip of the same daily, Niger owes Nigeria 4 billion naira for power supply. That's credited to NEG. What were you doing that money accumulated? 4 billion naira. You waited and waited. If what happened in Niger hadn't happened, then they definitely will keep using free light. And
the music has changed.
Now,
and so definitely the dance steps have
definitely. 21 killed as gunmen attack Plateau community. We told you about that. ASU knocks federal government over dissolution of universities. Governing councils. Okay, these are some of the major headlines making the rounds as well from Daily Trust newspaper.
And straight to The Guardian. The Guardian for this morning. Niger forms a new government as ECOWAS standby force ready for deployment. And of course you have this picture there in gold and black Nigeria. And it's saying scenes of forgotten past. Nigerians opt for cinemas ahead aging museums. You know, talking about the reality now.
Yeah.
The cinema thing is back now. Talking about arts and entertainment, and our entertainers, artists, you know, comedians, actors and actresses are doing fantastically well.
Thumbs up to them.
That sector is being revitalized, and they're really doing well for themselves. You know, ahead of and he's talking about the cinemas now being functional ahead of aging museums. When last were you at a museum?
Wow, that's years ago.
Yeah,
years ago.
I think that's
years ago. Even the cinemas itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've done that in the last 20.
But that's the in thing now, because many movies are going to the cinema. And they are grossing millions and millions of naira.
Honestly.
But then when you talk about art, when you talk about preservation of our heritage, you talk about museums, and that's no more in vogue, really. Yes, there have been some return made of an artifact, especially in the Benin, AZEEZ, and the rest of them. Some of the stolen ones, let's call it what it is, stolen artifacts that are being returned, and you can only find this in museums, really. And so that's part of what they are saying. That is going on extinction, sadly. And of course, the cinemas are really doing well. At the bottom strip, lastly, for The Guardian, you have these, and it's sounding like a good news. A Nigerian artist raised 11 billion naira revenue from Spotify. 2022.
Wow, that's a big
These are
one.
music streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Spotify. So to raise 11 billion naira in revenue in 2022, that's a lot. It shows that we have a lot to gain when we tap into these avenue, you know, especially as artists, as comedians, as musicians. And there is a lot of things to do. And of course, you trust Nigerians. They are brilliant, brilliant people. And that will be the size of the newspaper segment for today. When we come back, we get talking about education, about Osun State. Matters are rising. You don't want to miss it. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The 1914 Amalgamation Treaty is synonymous to the birth of Nigeria. Frederick Lugard, a British Army captain and an outlaw who struck gold in Africa, became the instrument used by destiny to make it happen. The amalgamation of Nigeria was designed for economic reasons by the colonial administration to offset Northern Protectorate budget deficit by Southern Protectorate surplus returns. The amalgamation had ad initio created imbalance in the economic political structure of Nigeria and was responsible for the persistent hiccups and the efforts to forge a united country till today. Nigeria's amalgamation was labeled as the mistake of 1914 by native northern conservatives who neither wanted it nor contributed anything significant to its sustenance. Western Springer Television identifies with Amalgamation Treaty of 1914 as a watershed event in history. Born Jeremiah Oyeni Obafemi on March 6, 1905, Obafemi Awolowo was a prime architect of Nigeria's independence and most consummate advocate of free education and social welfare in Africa's most populous nation. Erudite politician, thinker and philosopher, Awo was fondly addressed by associates and political colleagues, brought his unique attributes to bear on governance in the defunct Western region. He administered as leader of government business and the premier between 1955 and 1958. Obafemi Awolowo's premiership witnessed pioneering in the multi-sectoral policy initiatives and execution. The Western region under his administration paraded several enviable records. First television station in Africa, first real estate in Nigeria, first high-rise building in Nigeria, first modern sports stadium in Nigeria, first agricultural settlement in Nigeria, first modern civil service secretariat in Nigeria, and first industrial estate in Nigeria. His face is on 100 naira denomination as a mark of honor for his distinguished services to his country. Western Spring Television identifies Obafemi Awolowo as a major character in history. The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and Africa as
and different inscriptions like "Let the student breathe," "We are tired" on their placards. The protesting students hit the complex of the state's legislative arm. The students say they just want their schools reopened. July 2023, Governor Ademola Adeleke, in a letter signed by Permanent Secretary at the Education Ministry, Murtala Jimoh, has suspended the Rector, Dr. TAJUDEEN over allegations of financial recklessness, misappropriation of funds, abuse of office, among other allegations. Sequel to his suspension, Mr. Kehinde Alabi was appointed as acting rector of the institution, a decision that provoked the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, Iree Polytechnic chapter. Following Mr. Kehinde's appointment, academic activities have been stalled as lecturers down tools in solidarity with Dr. Odetayo's suspension. The lecturers argue that his suspension was short of due process, adding that Mr. Kehinde was not qualified for the appointment. Meanwhile, in the middle of the back and forth is the student bearing the brunt. The Student Union President, AZEEZ, while voicing out their demand to the Speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Adewale Egbedu, on Thursday, said they are not part of the ongoing rift and want their academic activities to resume.
These are the faces of people that we are denied of our education. These are the faces of we suffering for something we don't know about. These are people we are here. We are suffering a lot as students. We are coping on campus before the ASUP and government bring their problems onto us. This problem on ground, we don't know anything about it. We don't want to be the recipients of this problem. We want our campus to be open. 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 Aluta continua.
Meanwhile, the speaker, who rushed down to the complex after the students insisted on seeing him, assured the protesting students that their demands will be tabled before the state governor.
And I tried to intervene by calling the president. And he promised me, the president assured me that this is going to be a peaceful protest. That's why I encouraged him. But the truth is this: it's always good to be the voice of the voiceless. Obviously, you people are here to represent your colleagues. But there are ways we can do this without fighting, without violence. No violence. Kindly listen please. I will implore you, I will beg you, I'm appealing to you, let's embrace dialogue. I'm going to discuss this with the governor. You can say I'm not the governor, I'm the speaker. But I promise you, and I'm assuring you, I'm speaking on behalf of the executive, that we are going to see to this today. I'm assuring you we are going to see to this today. And by His grace, we are going to find a lasting solution to this today.
The students, however, pressed their protest forward to the governor's office in Abere, Osogbo, the state capital. Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.
The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trades and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies the Berlin Conference as a major event in history. James Ajibolaige was a lawyer who obtained his first degree in classics from Nigeria's premier University of Ibadan. Born September 13, 1930, the orator and the polyglot spoke impeccable English, French, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages. His fine diction placed him among classical orators and public speakers like Cicero, the Roman orator. This attribute earned him the prefix Cicero of Esauke. He authored Kaduna Boy, an autobiography, The Teenage Diary, Constitution, and the People, among 6 other books. Bolaige was a colorful politician, elected governor of Oyo State in 1979 and appointed a federal minister in 1999. He was a pioneer founder of Afenifere, the Yoruba social, cultural, and political group. He invested his political sagacity to propel the group to the height of political leadership and decision-making in the southwest of Nigeria. Bolaige was assassinated on the 23rd December 2001. His murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bolaige as a watershed character in history. The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the Earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents. The empire took off with overseas possessions and trading posts established by England, spread over 3 million kilometers between 16th and early 18th century. Like previous empires, the British Empire began to crumble on its weight of overstretched territories and growing unrest in our various colonies. Today, the British Empire no longer exists. What is in place is the Commonwealth of Nations, a loose association of sovereign states which recognize the King of England as the titular head. Western Spring Television identifies the British Empire as a watershed empire in history.
All right, here we go. Thank you for being there with us. And let's just get down to the business of the morning properly at this point in time. Quite a whole lot have been happening in our dear state when it matters concerning the Osun State Polytechnic, Iree, after the suspension of the rector of the institution and replaced by another man. It has been very hard, and you saw what happened yesterday from our report as put together by Western Spring Television, where students of the very great institution, Osun State Polytechnic, Iree, had to take their peaceful protest to the House of Assembly to meet with Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Egbedu, yesterday, who actually, on behalf of the government, addressed them concerning their demands, their wishes, and all they have brought to him yesterday. But we'd like to just get clarity as to what it looks like at this moment in time. And we have with us in the studio this beautiful morning the Chief Press Secretary to the Speaker of the House of Assembly. It's a pleasure to always have Mr. OLAMIDE TIAMIYU. Good morning to you. I don't know, I want to call you comrade. But good morning. Good morning. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good to have you here.
And also with us in his studio this morning, the Student Union President of Osun State Polytechnic, Iree, comrade AZEEZ TAJUDEEN. Comrade, good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, sir.
All right. You please need to speak up a little. Yesterday I saw some agility. Now you're a little bit quiet. Let's get down to the business of the morning. Let's start from the student angle here. There was a peaceful protest you took to the House of Assembly for the benefit of those who are probably just watching us and want to know what exactly is happening at Osun State Polytechnic. Why did that protest, that peaceful protest, come up, and what were your demands?
Good morning, Sadas, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, yesterday we had a peaceful protest. And the protest was due to the suspension of academic activities and the closure of our institution a few weeks ago. And the closure of the institution was due to the suspension of a rector, Dr. TAJUDEEN, and the appointment of an acting rector, Mr. Alabi. So the ASUP, which is Academic Staff Union of Polytechnic, Osun State Polytechnic Iree chapter, they stood against the decision of the state government that the appointed rector is not appointed the way it's supposed to be, probably with their own constitution. So they had a protest to show their grievances, and ever since then the school has been on suspension. The reason why we had the protest was we have had series of meetings with the concerned bodies, which is the state government and ASUP, but we have no positive feedback. So we have to express our feelings by letting them, by using the language we believe they will understand. So that is why we had the protest. And our request was we want our campus to be opened as soon as possible. There are some students, set of students writing examinations that was suspended. Okay,
as at the time that before the suspension of the rector, yes, there was examination ongoing.
Yes, sir. There was an examination ongoing. So the examination has been cancelled. So we have to fight. We have to let them know the examination and our rights shouldn't be tampered with. Without jeopardizing the interest of a Nigerian student with the decision of the state government and ASUP, and we don't know anything about it, and we shouldn't be the receiving ends. So we have to protest and let them know what our grievances are.
Okay.
Comrade, still stay with you. And for you, your parties, you want to go back to school. You want to go back, have the classes open, and of course, have your education, move smoothly as it should. But let me ask you, in all of this matter, you've spoken about the suspension of the former rector, replacing him with somebody else. The SUG in which you represent, in which you are the leader of, whose part are you on this matter?
Well, I am here to represent the over 20,000 students of Osun State Polytechnic, and I'm speaking frantically that the student union body has nothing to do with any of the appointed
the choice of
rector. We don't have any interest in that. Our agitations was we want to resume back to school. We don't care, and I said it yesterday when I was addressing Mr. Speaker and the Deputy Governor of Osun State, that we don't really care about who becomes the rector of the institution. All we want is academic activities to be resumed and the examinations should be continued. So we have no interest
in that. That's all that matters.
Yes, that's of course, yes.
And so the time, yes, this thing before we come to, I come straight at the Chief Press Secretary here. Were your demands met? Or what were the promises made by Mr. Speaker and Mr. Deputy Governor yesterday?
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Adewale assured us, and he gave us his words, that the school is going to be opened on or before Monday.
On or before Monday, that's 12th
of August. And the Deputy Governor, in his words too, made the same, give us the same assurance that our school is going to be opened back on or before Monday. And we should hold him on to his words if what he said is not, or if what he has said yesterday is not coming up.
So he shared his own deal with his words.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. TIAMIYU is here, the Chief Press Secretary to Right Honorable Adewale Egbedun, the Honorable Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly. Here we are. You were there yesterday when the students from Osun State Polytechnic, Iree, came in their hundreds to protest the closure of their school over a couple of weeks now. Mr. Speaker eventually came out to address them. He has told us here the promises made, the assurances, not promises, the assurances by Mr. Speaker that honor before Monday. How true is this? Is that on the pipeline?
Thank you very much. Let me start by commending the student of Osun State Polytechnic, Iree, for their behavior yesterday. You say it is right to be angry. It is your right to be angry when you feel offended. But it is human and culture to listen to elders, the council of the elders,
absolutely,
even in the face of your anger.
Absolutely.
They had a peaceful protest yesterday, and I must commend them for that. 15 days ago, going to 16 days now, I have an information that they were planning a protest like that. And immediately I notified my boss, the Right Honorable Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, and we intervened. He's here, he can be a witness to it. On his honor, they stepped down that protest that's 15 days ago. And he invited them to Osogbo.
On the Speaker's honor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He invited them to Osogbo, and he spoke with the Commissioner for Education that they should dialogue with them. They met with the Commissioner for Education, Honorable Dipo Eluwole. At the same time, they met with the board chairman of the school, Honorable Diron Anyembeku. And since then, the ministry, to the best of my knowledge, has been carrying them along in the process of negotiation and interfacing with their lecturers, the HASUP. But yesterday, I woke up to saw the news yesterday that they are coming to Osogbo. Immediately, I was trying to reach him. I couldn't reach him. So I called my boss, sir, this is what I heard. And he said they are coming, and they are coming to the House of Assembly. He said I should send his number. Mr. Speaker spoke with him directly on phone. And when Mr. Speaker spoke with him, he promised Mr. Speaker that they are already on their way, and the protest is going to be peaceful. It's just important that they register their displeasure to the closure of the school. Okay, so we were preparing for them. Even that yesterday happens to be one of the busy days for Mr. Speaker because there are state functions which he needs to attend. By the time they came, before they came, Mr. Speaker called the chairman House Committee on Education, Honorable Elisha Oderinwale, to be on ground so that he will be able to receive them since he has stepped out to attend the state function. Normally, they were supposed to go together. So I was with Honorable Elisha Oderinwale alongside some other honorables at the complex when they arrived. Normally, the security, they clocked the gate against them, they cannot come in. So but we pleaded to the security and we pleaded to them that since they have assured us it's going to be a peaceful protest, come in. Mr. Speaker will soon be with you. And lo and behold, Mr. Speaker, you know he's a youth himself, a young man like them. He rushed down. He can be a witness to it. He rushed down, and because they insisted that they must see him and he must address them. And he had to leave that state function to rush down to the assembly complex to talk to them. And he spoke with them. Yeah, he assured them that he's going to discuss that issue with the governor and the concerned authority that yesterday. Actually, he did specifically mention that the school will be opened on or before Monday. You know, they have the right to interpret it that way anyway. Since he said it emphatically.
But there wasn't a timeline.
Yes, but he said it emphatically that yesterday he will initiate the discussion about that issue and he will see how they can get it resolved. So then interpreting it that on or before Monday, well, is their own.
Were you there?
I was. If you look at the video, I was in front. In fact, I had to address them and calm them first. I was the one that initiated that. Even before Mr. Speaker will speak, they need to present their agitation first because that is what he will respond to. So this PRO of the union spoke before him and Mr. Speaker responded. So that's the situation.
Okay. Now, he said, and you have alluded to the fact that they planned a protest like 2 weeks ago. You got the information and you spoke to him, the leader and the executive, and they stepped it down. But now they had to do that one yesterday. He has said they have met, you said, he and his people have met with the Commissioner of Education, the board as well, and all of these people.
At the instance of Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
yes,
yeah. And all of these persons, eminent persons, gave the SUG their words that they are going to intervene 2 weeks after the school is still shut. The students are still outside. But yesterday they were at the assembly complex. Mr. Speaker spoke on the matter, and they are going to intervene again. They want to go back to class. Now, can your principal be held to his word? Because some persons have intervened earlier. The school is still short. 2 weeks after those intervention, if we could call it intervention, the place is still short. They want to go back to their class. How sure, which assurance will you give to them on behalf of your principal that this will happen? You have just said there wasn't a timeline. Even by the, please, if I may, there wasn't a timeline set by the speaker, because you have just said that now. Can they hold Mr. Speaker to his words? These guys wants to go back to class. That's all that matters to them. They are not involved in the politics or whatever that is happening.
You see, the assurances are there. What do I mean? When Mr. Speaker intervened 2 weeks ago, they saw what has happened after that. The following day, in less than 12 hours, they met with the commissioner. Am I lying? They met with the board chairman.
But the school is still short. The
school is still short. You see, the problem is we have two people having different agitation now, the government and the House. I won't want to delve into that matter because it's not within my purview to do that. But and in the face of negotiation, you see, you will continue to negotiate until you reach a compromise. I get my point. But like I said earlier, the ministry has done well by carrying them along, because I'm aware that even the ministry had a meeting with their leaders and the student leaders. At a point, their leaders even insisted that they don't want to sit with the students. Am I lying?
Of course.
Because they don't want, I don't know, maybe they don't want their students to really know the agitation, or that's probably they are the one that's causing. I don't know. But you know, because the ministry actually wanted to bring them together. Okay, let's have a tripartite meeting where even these students will understand that it's not as if we are comfortable that you are being locked out. So that the students could also have that opportunity to even plead to their leaders that you need to bend your rules or what have you now. Are you getting my point now? So now saying that, can my boss be held to his word? Yes. Why? Because since that 2 weeks, he has taken it up, and that's so kind. You know, the assembly just announced the committees. I think it was on Wednesday that Mr. Speaker announced the committees of the assembly. Now, the House Committee on Education will also take it up. As a matter of fact, let me say they have even taken it up. They will need to even meet with the House. They will need to meet with the government, the executive, while they will also meet with them. So, you see, whether the school is being resumed on Monday or not, I believe that what is important is, and what we give them an assurance is, if there are processes that will lead to the opening of that school sooner than even what they expected, they will be comfortable with that. Because if not for the intervention of Mr. Speaker, maybe that yesterday protest wouldn't have been peaceful. And that is why their first point of call was the House of Assembly, which I appreciated them for that. At least they honored him that you are the one that said we should hold on the other time 2 weeks ago. We didn't say anything. We want to come and meet you now to tell you that we are tired of staying at home. We want to continue to write our exam, and we want to graduate.
Okay. All right. Comrade, back to you. You met with the deputy governor on behalf of the governor yesterday. You met with the speaker. They gave you their words. How comfortable are you with those promises at this time?
Well, as he said, let me say, as they said yesterday, we should hold them onto their words. And I believe they are going to deliver as they've promised. If not as executives of the state government, let me say as the leadership of the state government, but as our fathers. I believe they are going to fulfill the promises they have made. Yesterday at night, Mr. Speaker sent me a message that the issue will be resolved on or before Monday, as an assurance. So I will implore the state government to critically look at things and to get it resolved, so that what we did yesterday won't repeat itself. Because I've been trying to calm my students down, because you know, students, they are always violent when there are issues like this, because we don't know about what is happening, because we are just the receiving ends. So they are ready to go harder than what happened yesterday. But with what they heard from the speaker and the deputy governor, they are rest assured that things will be resolved as soon as possible.
Okay. Now, I'm still staying with you at this moment in time. Everywhere there is always a head. The rector has been suspended. Investigations ongoing towards what he has been alleged at this moment in time. But whoever comes in at this moment, is the SUG ready to work with that person, no matter who that person is?
We are always ready to work with anybody appointed. Because I always put it in a situation like, okay, what if the person has been there before we were being elected? Our own is to get things done on campus. Whenever we need his assistance, and if we have to go to him, the only thing we need from him is to grant our request. We don't care about who becomes the rector. All we want is peace on our campus and stability. We want progress, and we want the students' demands to be met whenever we are in need of it. So that's it, sir.
Comrade, let me ask you, you have met with the speaker, you have met with the deputy governor. That's the angle of the government. Have you met with the leadership of the ASU in your school? And what are they saying on this matter?
Yes, we had a meeting with them.
Okay.
Last Sunday. So together with my executives and the SRC members. So we had a meeting here in Osogbo. So when we explained what we want for them, I think...
What was your explanation? What was your position to the ASU?
They told us they are fighting for our rights, that they are defending with the students. But we made them to understand, you are defending and you are protecting us, but you are wasting our time at the same time. Now, if you consider this a fight to continue, then we consider you as not protecting our interest anymore. Let us resume back to campus. You and the government, you have met times without number. Why not resolving these issues? We want to stop being the receiving ends. If anything will be coming up, then it should be within you and the government. But they kept on telling us their demands will always be their demands. They are constituted authorities, they have constitution guiding them, they have this and that.
So basically, there isn't a synergy yet between ASUP and the members of the SUG and the school presently?
No, not at all.
So at this moment, even if the school resumes on Monday, what's the probability that exams will continue as at when due?
Well, according to what the deputy governor has said yesterday, he said he's going to meet with the concerned authorities. Definitely, the ASUP
are the concerned
authorities. Okay. And they will know how to settle these issues within themselves. And if we resume back on Monday and the examination is not continued, that means we haven't resumed back to campus.
Well, definitely, after that protest of yesterday, that peaceful protest you took to the House of Assembly and you met with Mr. Governor, have you been able to meet with members of ASUP, Osun State Polytechnic chapter, to look, this is what has been said, when would we continue our examination?
Yesterday, it was late at night when we arrived back to campus yesterday. And this morning, I'm here.
You're here, okay.
So after this show, I've informed my general secretary to write a letter to them to have another meeting, to hear from them what has been the progress so far. So it is when we hear from them, we know if things have been resolved from their own side. And they should tell us another thing, let me say as fathers, because we call them fathers too. When we are no longer with our parents, our teachers on campus will be our parents. So we tell them, let us resume back to school. Please resolve these issues as soon as possible.
All right. Mr. CPS, want to respond to that?
Yeah, I just want to say that for me, I think we are making progress on this issue. Because I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, the registrar issued a memo that the non-academic staff and the contract staff should resume back to work, which I believe they have resumed. Am I lying? So definitely we are making progress gradually. And you see, if the school is resumed on Monday, I believe that it is not compulsory that they should start exam on Monday. Absolutely. Because we need to consider that some of the students might have even gone home. Once the school is being reopened, I will expect the person who is in charge to issue a memo that this is when the exam will commence, so that those who have traveled back home will come back to school, come and continue their exam. So I just want him to clear that the school might likely resume on Monday by God's grace, but that is not to say that they will start the exam, because they need to consider others. Absolutely. The other of their colleagues who has gone home.
Right. You know, the reason why we're having this program is to have a solution to these issues, especially the lives of young men and women that are at stake. Either is 1 week or 2 weeks or a month. These are days, months, time that can never be recovered in the lives. And you know what they say about time? Time is life, definitely. But let me ask you, comrade, what is the mood like back in Iree among the students? What are they saying? How affected are they on these issues?
When you're talking about any academic setting, Osun State Polytechnic Iree, as a case study, if there is no students, if there are no students on campus, then the institution is not existing. So they have not been feeling so good. And even they are feeling so good, then we'll be coming up on the street yesterday to show.
Do you meet with them regularly?
Yes. Yeah. We are having series of meetings with the students union leaders on campus, because we have arms of government. As we have legislative arm, we have faculty president, departmental president. So we are having meetings consequently on how things will be and how we can recover from the losses we have made, the losses. So they are not feeling so pleasant with it. But I believe if everything is resolved, as been said by your honorable speaker and the deputy governor, everything will be back in place.
Yeah, I will come back to Comrade Tajudeen, but let me stick with CPS, my brother here. Education in Osun State, as it is right now, we know it's on a little bit on the back seat for now. Is there anything you probably have heard? Is there any movement the House of Assembly is putting in place? So like, hey, on the front burner, we should be amongst the first 5, not even 10 in Osun State. Because if things like this is a global thing, because before I knew, I got calls a couple of weeks ago from my dad and my uncle that, because I'm a product of this great school as well. What is it looking like for education in Osun State, if probably from the State House of Assembly, something worthwhile to make sure that education is on top right here?
Well, I must say that it's not going to be a business as usual. And from the look of things, I think there is a justification for that. Well, the intervention of the Osun State House of Assembly on this issue, yes, without sounding immodest, I can say that is unprecedented. We've had government in this state. We have series of protests and agitation from between the students, from the student angle to against the government. I've never seen that. I was a comrade myself when I was in school, right? Even after school, at least the activism thing is still there. So I followed some of those protests. I've never seen a speaker in this state or the assembly, so to say, intervening, coming to say, because you see, if you look at it very well, even when we are saying the oversight of the House of Assembly, the oversight is to check the executive. You get me right? It's to check not, but when the students, the younger ones, and the assembly is full of younger people. Just day before yesterday when we had a meeting with Yaga, I discovered that we have 13 house members that are below 40 years. That is to tell you that they are full of youth. So they understand the pace of these students very well. Even possibly more than the executive, because the executive are a bit older. So they understand it very, very well. So definitely now intervening in the issue shows that they are concerned about the state of education in the state, and something drastic will be done in collaboration with the executive, at least to lift the face of the education, not at the tertiary level, from the primary level, by God's grace.
And comrade, as we coast home gradually, Comrade AZEEZ, we wish you all the best, and the institution as well. And we hope these eminent persons that have given you the award will walk the talk, and so that the school will be reopened and then you can go back to your academic lives. But perhaps, if nothing concrete happens by Monday or next week, what will be the next line of action from the SUG?
Well, we had a meeting yesterday with my executives and other representatives of the student union, and they made, although I'm to make decisions, but they are to give me ways of action.
Definitely.
So they said if the promises are not being kept, it is possible we go out again to protest. And it is going to be a peaceful one, but it's going to be massive. Because yesterday the numbers are limited. We picked selected numbers of people to come for the protest. So if the promises are not being kept, probably next week we might come out in mass to show our grievances again.
We hope it doesn't get there.
Exactly.
That's not the point. The point is to have a functional school with students that are ready to learn.
Okay, so you want to say something about
once again, I commend the students and the leadership of the Student Union of Osun State Polytechnic, Iree. But let me use this opportunity to assure them that we have a listening governor. We have a listening governor. We have a listening father in Osun State, in person of Senator Ademola Jackson Adeleke. And I'm sure, and I'm very sure that Osun State Polytechnic Iree will reopen very soon. Thank you very much.
Very soon. Comrade, we just want to urge us, everybody, yes, I said it, I think, before the show that we've done things like this before. As much as this is a little bit of palpable tension, we just try as much as possible to calm your colleagues. Things will be done, and let's do the needful. Your parting shot to all students, and you can just use this medium to say thank you to Mr. Speaker, most especially for the Executive Governor of Osun State, His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Speaker, and to members, because if that had not been done peacefully, for him to have instantly left where he was yesterday to attend to, probably by now, we know what violence can do, protest, it could be hijacked. But please, you can just use our medium to say a big thank you to them.
Well, as our father has rightly said, the CPS, sir, he has been our father for long. Ever since I've known him, he has been very good to us, to student movement at large in Osun State. And I believe this is not going to be the end. It is through him I met with the speaker. He has been doing so well. He's our father. I really commend his effort for that. And we students that we came out yesterday, we were peaceful students. We are they were peace ambassadors. But sometimes you just have to do some things to get something resolved. So that is why we're on the street. So our appreciation, sincere appreciation goes to the Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Adiwale Bedroom, for playing a fatherly role yesterday. In fact, I wasn't expecting it. As he has said, speakers don't used to come out to attend to issues like that, but he was around. He showed up, he addressed us. People were happy yesterday when he addressed us. So I'm sending my appreciations to him. And I will be very glad if our CPSR can deliver our messages to him. And to the Deputy Governor, he played a fatherly role too yesterday. He addressed us. And everywhere was calm. People were hopeful yesterday. Because anywhere you see the Deputy Governor of the state, I think That's even enough. So we really appreciate them for showing and for showing concern yesterday. And if they were not there yesterday, there is nothing we can do. Right. But for them coming, we really appreciate. So, and to the state government, to the state governor in absentia, we are sending our ambitions to our father. He's our father.
And to your fellow colleagues.
Definitely.
Student. I have a message for them.
I have to appreciate my colleagues.
Yeah.
They are my brothers. They are my comrades. I do appreciate them for standing beside me right from the inception of my administration.
But on this matter, what would be your message for them?
Yeah.
For the students of Osun State Polytechnic area?
I will enjoy them to stay calm for now, as the state government is working.
For now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
To stay calm, and I'm assuring them that through the office of the speaker and the deputy governor, as they've spoken yesterday, I believe this issue is going to be resolved, and every other issues that will be coming up later. Because that is not the main issue we are facing on our campus. We have a lot of issues. And I believe with what they've said yesterday, everybody should remain calm. And I will still be in charge to tell them to remain calm, to maintain peace in the state, that this issue is going to be resolved. I'm very sure of that.
You talked about other issues. Like which issues?
We know on campuses issues cannot be.
It's unlimited.
It's unlimited.
All right, that's fine.
That's fine.
We know definitely the needful will be done. We want to say a big thank you to you, gentlemen, and comrade TIAMIYU, you are awesome. Thank you most sincerely. Regards to Right Honorable Egbedun and members of the House of Assembly. And comrade AZEEZ, we wish you the very best and success in your examinations and subsequent things you guys do out there.
And the CPS, we will be expecting the speaker on this program pretty soon.
Very soon.
Yeah.
And that's great.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time today. And these will be the size of the program today. We've talked, looked at the previous, and then in education, especially the tertiary institution owned by the Osun State government, the Osun State Polytechnic in Iree, matters arise in the leadership tussle. The SUG president has said they are not involved, they are not interested in who becomes what, they just want to go back to the class, and we've heard. And again, there's a confirmation about the walk in the talk, especially from the office of the Mr. Speaker for the Osun State House of Assembly, being spoken for this morning by the Chief Press Secretary, Mr. TIAMIYU. Thank you, gentlemen. That will be the size. We'll see you again on Monday, God willing, on Morning Springs on Western Spring Television. FEMI Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria.
Just enjoying you to have a beautiful weekend, and let's do the needful. Thank God it's Friday, definitely. Thank you to the entire production team, our director, our producers, and the entire camera team, the entire staff. Thank you for making it happen. TUNDE IDOWU is my name. Have a pleasant weekend.